Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, please subscribe. If you're an old subscriber, thank you for always coming back. So I'll be showing you guys every details on how I made this beautiful gown. If that's what you want to see, then watch to the end of this video. Actually, I've cut the pattern because in fact there was no exact design given to me to make this dress. The client just said do something nice, and she actually bought a very cheap fabric. Yeah, that isn't the case, but I decided I was gonna make the fabric look okay for what she wants to use it for. She kind of gave me some details like this is the type of things that I like. So from what she said, I decided to do this. So the net fabric that is the kind of the yoke, I stoned it first. Those tiny tiny stuff you can see are the stones. So I stoned it first, and then I went ahead to use these beads to kind of decorate it, just so I give it that beautiful. Because of that is that beautiful design in front of it. I wanted it to look like an English wear. Yes, I wanted it to look like an English wear. So I didn't want to buy. I didn't want to start combining fabrics. I just wanted to look like a beautiful English wear. So I had to bead it. I had to hand bead it by myself, and I went ahead to kind of start hand beading it. Trust me, this process wasn't easy. In fact, I didn't know what I went into until I started, and I was like, "What am I going to finish all this?" So I went ahead and then I started beading it. I didn't even know how to place the beads. Like there was no exact design in my head. Like there's nothing I'm looking from. I'm just kind of I'm in the lab. Just I'm in the lab like a scientist. I'm in the lab and I'm trying to do this thing. And I decided to take you guys along with me. So I'm trying out what the design should look like because I don't have an exact one in mind. And this is what I'm actually doing now. I'm actually doing I'm hand beading the fabric. Okay, I'm hand beading the fabric. As you can see, when I sew, I cut. When I bead it, I cut the thread and I tie it. Okay. So I did this one by one for the whole of this beading, like so. And this was what I had when I was done. It's beautiful, right? Oh, clap for me. So this is what it looks like. Then I went ahead to start sewing. And for the front cape, which kind of went into the sleeve, I also beaded it. Trust me, it wasn't easy. So I'm going ahead now to join the front cape and the back cape together. The back cape has this kind of folded effect. Like this kind of folded effect. I just wanted to do it to kind of make it look different. The front cape also has that effect, but the beaded stuff has covered it. So the back cape has this kind of folded effect. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you still see it clearly at the probably at the thumbnail is there. It has this kind of folded effect. So I used shoulder princess seam pattern to sew this. She said she doesn't want it to be heavy and she doesn't want me to line it. But I know that princess seam is princess seam. Come on, it's gonna come out well. Princess seam hawks. If you know how to cut it, it hawks. And in this channel, we have various tutorials of princess seam. Okay, so I used shoulder princess seam. You can use armhole princess seam. They are all the same techniques, and every video is in this channel. So I used the shoulder princess seam and I started. As you can see, look at that bust area. Can you see? Once you just wear it, you're good to go. Come on. So I just started sewing up the princess seam area of the clothes of the dress. Yes. And another thing is I had issues sewing this dress because she bought a stretchy fabric. She brought soft scuba. She bought a soft scuba. Ha! It was stressful. I mean, it's not sewing well on my sewing machine. It's giving me headache sewing it. It's stretchy, and you can see the design I'm making is kind of it's not something, how do I put it? Is what is it called again? Okay, is kind of is fitted. So the stuff of the fabric isn't gonna be good for it. But I didn't know what to do. Look at that interface. I used an interface at the whole of the zipper area because just to stabilize it. If I had known, I would have used interface on everywhere that the sewing machine is gonna sew. But then it didn't come to my mind. But when next I have this kind of fabric to sew, I'm going to be doing that. So I used the interface on the zipper area and on some kind of necessary areas. On the capes too, I used interfaces. I interfaced the cape. Then before I did everything that I did on it, both the beading, I had to interface it. So I went ahead to sew the back piece like so, joining the two back piece together. Okay, so I haven't done that. I went ahead also to I've gone ahead to mark out the shape, as you can see, and I went ahead to shaping it on the sides, like front back together. I went ahead to shaping them on the side. Actually, when I'm doing my shaping, I do it differently. I do the front measurement, back measurement, then I take it to the sewing machine and I try to put that front and the back to meet each other, like as you can see me do so. So that is what I do. That's what I did. And I went ahead to sew. If you want to make this kind of design, you need, if you're not going to be using a lace fabric, after when you even use a lace fabric, the satin inside the lace stabilizes the lace. So make sure you use something that is stable. This one is like lycra material. Seriously, it's like lycra material. I saw her trying to make this dress, and I just wish Diona would understand me that I went through a lot and at least add something for your girl. So I went ahead to shape it, and I'll be using a bias to trim that armhole area because um, it's just a cape. There is no sleeve going in there. So for the finishing, since she doesn't want me to line it, she doesn't want it to be heavy on her, I had to use a bias. I'm supposed to use the same color of bias, but I didn't have that color of bias, so I decided to use black. I'm sorry, don't be like me. When you're sewing your own, use the exact color. Though it's not going to show, it will be inside, and black goes for, everything. So I decided to use black. But when you're doing yours, please don't use black. Especially if you're doing a ready to wear. Do not use black. Use the exact color. In fact, if you're doing ready to wear, you should even line it. You should line it. So I went ahead to sew the bias like so. I just hope you're seeing everything I'm doing clearly. I'm just giving you the story of how I made this dress, just to keep you company and you watch in details of how I achieved this very beautiful particular. I think it's giving, what is it called? It's giving bridal train vibes. It's giving bridal train vibes, something like that. I don't know if that's what she's using it for. It's giving bridal train vibes. So I'm going ahead now to sew in the cape. You want to first make sure that every notch, because the fabric is stretching, I have to kind of join the notches together like so. I'm making sure that every notch aligns first. So I'm making sure that every notch aligns because if your notches do not align, if you just put it at the center first and start sewing, because it's a stretchy fabric, you find out that before you get to a point, I don't know what, I think science has an explanation to that. Or some of it, okay, I don't know. But before you get to where the notch is, you find out that it's kind of half inch before it or after it. It's not just going to align. But once you use probably a pin, if you have a pin, you can use a pin, or you want to sew them down first. Once you just put them down first in place, everything is going to align. That's the way, that's the technique for making stretchy fabrics, except, especially if you want to sew it like into a fitted wear, not a free gown or something like that. So I went after joining the notches together, then I started sewing all the way round the cape. Started sewing all the way around the cape. That is why it's very necessary to mark your notches, because especially in this kind of design, that is like so many things are happening. If you do not mark your notches, at a point you're going to get confused. You'll be asking yourself questions like, what is happening here? What is this? What is that? So that very yoke, I'm going ahead to sew it in, making sure my center notch align like so. And then I'll go ahead to sew it all the way down to the both sides of the front like so. So I'm sewing it down now like so. So I'll go ahead to also sew the other side. And this is what it looks like. Wow, it actually looks beautiful. So for the back yoke, which I also used this net fabric, but I didn't beat the back. I didn't beat the back because the pay and that thing, the bead has, I've exhausted the bead for the front, and come on, I don't have strength to like continue beading the back. Like I said, we this wasn't planned. She didn't know what she was going to expect, so I just had to bead only the front. And so I'm going ahead to sew in the back like so. Every notch, I just have to make sure every notch aligns because it's going to help you, and it's going to, in fact, you're going to be shocked when your client fits the dress if you make sure your notches align. There isn't going to be any need for amendments and all that. So I'm going ahead to sew up the shoulders now, front and back shoulder together. Actually, the net fabric, I made it like 3 layers in the front. For the front, I made it 3 layers, and for the back, two layers each. Okay, I don't know if you understand me. For the front, 3 layers. For the back, 2 layers. Just so it can carry the fabric. Just so it can carry the main fabric. So that it's not like, kind of. So I'm going ahead to fix the cap sleeve. I fixed that of the other side. So I'm going ahead to fix the cap sleeve. You want to make sure that the center notches align also. And I'm sewing it down like so. I also marked where is my back cap sleeve and front cap sleeve. You don't want to take the back to the front and the front to the back. So yeah. So after sewing the cap sleeve onto the net fabric, I'll go ahead to sew it onto the cape. So this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead to fix it onto the cape. I'll be turning it around to fix it onto the cape. Also making sure that my center cap sleeve notch aligns with my center cape notch. That is the part of the cape that goes into the sleeve, the center of it. A lot of things to remember, a lot of things to notch, because if you do not, you will get confused. In fact, you get frustrated. Let me not paint worse. You just get frustrated and you're bound to dump it if it's yours. And if it's not yours, you have sleepless nights thinking of what to do. So it's very necessary you mark notches when you're cutting on your fabric. Label when necessary on your pattern. Mark notches on your fabric. Very, very necessary. Look at the way it looks. So this is the way it looks. Very beautiful and nice. I'm loving it. So I went ahead to sew the lower bodies. Went ahead to sew the lower bodies. I initially used the dart, but later I found out that it was a wrong idea. So I had to eliminate the dart. I had to go back to my pattern, eliminate the dart, and trace it back on the fabric and eliminate the dart. That's not necessary. Just eliminate your dart, especially when it's a stretchy fabric, especially for the lower bodies. So I'm going ahead to join the upper bodies to the lower bodies like so. Same thing that I did for the cape, I'm going ahead now to make sure that all the notches align, like everything joins to each other before I sew round. This is actually the way I sew. I join my upper bodies separately, lower bodies separately, then after the whole thing, I put them up together. That's the way I sew. And I think that's the standard way. Lower body separate, upper body separate. Then later you join everything together. So I've gone ahead to pin it, tape it down all around. I don't have a pin. Pins, I don't know. I misplaced my pins like so I'm using my sewing machine to sew it down. I actually use the needle to hold that very part. So I'm going ahead to sew all the way round. That is round the waistline of the lower bodies and upper bodies. So I'm going to have to sew all the way round like so. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment for me in the comment section, and then make sure you check out our tutorials about Princess Sim if you haven't seen them. Okay? And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.